Show, the podcast that's raising the bar on craft cocktails. I am your host, Louise Solis, and with me again, thankfully, is my very, 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 very talented friend, a remedy to all that ails us, the mixtress, DC Gina.
Hey, Louise, it's been a while, huh?
It's been a minute.
It's been a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
You know, a world pandemic. I mean, it's been a lot.
Couple of those things happening, world shutting down, stay-at-home orders, lack of toilet paper.
Oh my gosh. Too much to navigate.
The fight is real. So let's lighten this up a little bit. You know, I mean, we're all dealing with what we just mentioned. You know, COVID-19 is a real thing, and we're doing the podcast from our homes, and what better time for you to help us get through it all by making some really amazing cocktails, something simple that, we can do at home. I like to call it stuck at home bartending. You're stuck at home bartender. So I have some funnies for you. How about that? Something to liven you up a little bit, because everyone needs a laugh, and I'm used to you laughing at me, not necessarily with me. So here we go. In honor of your time behind the bar. So a neutron walks into the bar and asks, "How much for a beer?" Bartender says, "For you, no charge." Get it, neutron?
I get it.
Okay, here's another one for you.
Dad jokes.
I know, they're terrible. So a screwdriver walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Hey, we have a drink named after you."
Oh.
And the screwdriver looks confused and asks, "You have a drink named Philip?" Wait, I got one more. I have not been drinking today, I promise, not yet. And then this is my all-time favorite joke, and I've actually said this on the show before. And so this one's my all-time favorite dumb joke. So a horse walks into a bar, and the bartender says, "Why the long face?"
First of all, I want to say my favorite joke. I love that joke about the screwdriver, but it has demographics, because if you are in like New York, the person changes to like an Alfonso, and if you're like in the Midwest, it changes to like a Billy Bob, and then if you're in like California, it's like a Bryce. It's each place that you go has a different punchline to it. It's funny.
But the one that's the smartest, wouldn't it be like a Phillips screwhead? That's what I took it as.
No, I got it. I get it. It's just funny. It's adapted itself to like different cultures.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, dumb is universal. Dumb is universal.
And on that note, I'm going to open up some dumb shit right now. A little hard seltzer.
Oh, there you go. Cheers to that.
Yeah.
I commend it.
It's happy hour every day.
All day.
You have kids.
Well, that stinks. I'm empty-handed. So we'll get there. That I'm just glad to see your face, to be honest.
I am happy to see anybody but my children.
So I guess, because not only are the businesses closed, well, not all of them, right? You're still working, right?
Yeah, I have one location still open. We are just barely getting by. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We have 5 employees employed, so they're not on unemployment.
That's great.
And we're trying every day, and we have an amazing customer base for Buffalo and Bergen, and a lot of people helping, ordering, giving us different, not advice, but like if they have like a catering for, not even a catering, an order for a hospital or something, like they're willing to donate their money to us to feed a hospital. So I'm extremely fortunate in that realm. Like I'm going to cry. Actually, you really see the networks you've built over all the time, and being in the business 20 plus years, and how like you pick each other up. Yeah. Especially when everything is against our business. The bars, the restaurants.
Yeah, I was sitting in a board meeting, of course, in Zoom, sitting in a board meeting the other day, and I used something. I offered something you suggested to me, which they were talking about buying gift certificates, like because they're not taking their clients out, and they were media folks, and there's always money sitting there. And now, they're not taking anyone out. They're not, doing the wining and dining because obviously they cannot. But I gave them the opportunity. I gave them the suggestion you shared, which was buy gift certificates for your local restaurants. You can still give that as a gift. It's an immediate injection of income that you may not have to deliver on in months if people choose not to, or at least keeps your folks employed at this point in time. So I thought it was a great thing to offer. That's something I hadn't initially, even having you as my friend and knowing so many people in the food and beverage industry, it didn't initially come to me as to why buying a gift certificate now made such a big difference.
It is, I don't think there's a wrong thing you could do right now, other than not supporting somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, you have to keep every day, it'll change or what's going to make the difference. And for right now, the people that are going to work and you see their restaurants open and that they're trying to help with their employees, those are the people that you should be helping because they really do care. Like if you have an owner that's on, Facebook or Instagram or the news, whatever, and they're pleading for funds to pay their employees or to give them something, it's because a large chance of it is that people don't qualify for unemployment or benefits of unemployment. And what you don't know is that like unemployment comes with a lot of different, there's a lot of rules to unemployment. It's not just you had to have worked or all of that. You can't owe back taxes. You can't have blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of other things. So, you don't think about that, right? Because you're not involved in everyone's personal life. But when someone can't eat, you're very much involved. So like, I feel like, everybody has a couple of places they like to go to, whether it's, a hamburger joint or, you're a fine dining kind of person. Either way, support what's in your repertoire. I'm not telling everybody to go out and give everybody, all their money and then they can't eat and they can't do stuff. But if they're like your home base and like you definitely love this place, then give them whatever you can to ensure the fact that they're going to be there to be the place you love in 2 years or when the world becomes normal again. Because from what we're hearing, just because the city says we're open, not coming in a restaurant. And they're not going to open the restaurants that quickly. The same with like, public pools or, I don't know, movie houses or, stadiums. You're just not going.
We were discussing the other day about when we do come back from all this, and it's hard to stay optimistic in the midst of it, and that's exactly where we are right now. But to your point, it's going to come back. We will rebound from this as well. But to imagine what restaurants or food and beverage in facilities, period, no matter what it be, just thinking about the amount of work it's going to take to get them back open. Just like, are they going to the restaurants? Will they have, certain cleaning schedules they have to abide by? Are there new things that we have to do because of coronavirus? Does it change the way you clean? Does it change other things that have yet to be seen? Like even retail stores, there's going to be, which is opportunity, absolutely opportunity for people to go back to work, but that's going to be a big lift.
I want to comment on that. A lot of the rules that came out to the restaurants were nothing new. We didn't get like this crazy list. Like we're like, oh man, we're going to have to like change gloves and cover our faces and sneeze in our arms. The restaurant industry invented sneezing in your arm. Okay. Yeah. More importantly, we've been cleaning like that. At least a good establishment has been cleaning like that forever. Granted, contactless is our new thing. Where like you put something down and then you pick it up as a customer. And if we touch the same thing, I can no longer give you that bag and I have to take it back and toss everything and start again. I understand that, right?
Explain that to me. I'm sorry. I don't think I understand.
So contactless pickup is a real thing. So what we have in like our table, like in our restaurant, is the table's out front. You order online, you call in your order. We take your credit card over the phone. There's no exchange of cash. We put your bag after we have on clean gloves. Because the person that's doing the door is constantly burning gloves because you basically change it every single time. Take the bag, put it on the counter, then you pick it up. The problem is that people come up to the door and they're a little bit more than 70 feet from us. And they'll be like, you'll go to put it down. You'll be like, please let me put it down for a second. And then they will touch the bag while you're touching the bag. And you can't do that. Then I have to start all over again. That means I got to take off my gloves, take off my apron, do, whatever, because you got too close. You're within, if you're touching the same bag I'm touching, chances are we're 6 inches of each other.
Gotcha.
And granted, I have a face mask on now, which is, I find very limiting. It is very hot to work in a restaurant with a face mask on. And you have to change it every few hours. Like there's a lot of things that you do now that are very different. But you were talking about the retail. It has never occurred to me how many times people pick something up, look at it, and then put it back until now. And I have never even began to imagine that because it didn't matter.
It didn't matter because we didn't worry. It wasn't something you had to.
Sorry, I went to a drugstore because I needed to get shampoo and stuff, whatever. And I went in, I had gloves on and a mask, and I changed my clothes. By the way, I get naked in my garage now, so that's real interesting. 100% sure that my neighbors have definitely seen me undressed. I have clean clothes in the garage I change into, and then usually we'll just have like a towel waiting. Then I go shower, and then I put on new clothes if I've been out. Because what I read is that coronavirus can live on cloth for like 3 hours. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wipe down every single thing that I'm bringing in the house. I have 2 children and one with a reactive airway issue. So I am super afraid that I'm going to A, bring something home to her and get her sick. B, I don't want to get sick myself.
Yeah.
Yep. And C, I'm not sure that some people really believe that this is happening. So they don't care when they go to these stores. Yeah.
I was out yesterday and we stopped by and we're doing social distancing. We're 6 feet apart and we needed to drop something off for a friend at their house, not far. And their neighbor came over and they were just, everyone's just kind of standing around talking for a little bit. And it was crazy as her husband is a doctor. And she's like, it's no big deal. And she's like, very kind of just nonchalant about it all. And Dave and I were like, oh my goodness. It just seemed like here your husband's a doctor and you're like, just kind of because she was telling one of the other women who were standing there, she was like, well, you're healthy and you'll be fine. You're healthy. What's going to worst thing you happen is lose a few pounds. And I was like, wow, what news are you watching?
See, that's the whole thing. It's like my niece is a nurse in New York and it's her first year out of school. Wow. And she's a nurse in the Bronx. And what that child had, she is still a child to me. What she has witnessed is 10 lifetimes of death that you should never have seen.
Yeah.
And to see, and she says, to have a refrigerated truck as a morgue, 3 high, and packing them full of people, 180 people at a time, and shipping them off to be dealt with later.
Yeah.
You tell me that's not real.
Yeah.
That's real. And, a lot of people, young people, she said, everyone's like, oh, it's only matters to old people. She's like, I see a lot of young people that got sick and they just died because they had issues they didn't even know about.
Yeah.
They had conjunctive heart disease that, they didn't know about. They had, diabetes they didn't know, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I have a brother-in-law with lupus, and it's he's in his early 50s. He's always been as healthy as one with lupus could be. But I mean, he's had a lot of health issues along the way, but right now, knock on wood, he's pretty healthy. But yeah, they had to be really careful. He's not working. My sister's not working. They're staying at the house. They're really they limit. He's not seeing their grandchildren right now. And to your point, doing all the extra steps because you have to be careful. It's serious. It's really serious stuff.
I mean, we haven't. So anybody that's listening, we are located in Washington, D.C., in the greater Washington area. And we are about 2.5 weeks behind New York.
Yeah.
So we haven't even seen our height yet. And it's coming. And it's very foolish to think that it's not coming for each region, you know, and it's moving in on itself because right now, New Orleans, Florida, all kinds of areas are getting like inundated with cases. And obviously there are places with the biggest airports and stuff. And all I want is for people to realize, like, stay home.
Yeah.
Or don't see anybody. Or just get on a Zoom call and get totally trashed.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of getting trashed.
Yeah, let's get trashed.
Let's get trashed. Okay, I'm going to spin my computer around because I set up everything because you told me what I was going to need.
Okay, let me see.
You recognize this kitchen, Gina?
Yeah, can you show everybody home a naked lady?
The one that everyone thinks is me?
Yeah, I love that. Not you, that lady. You're way thinner than that lady and younger.
Actually, when I shot that picture, she was probably way younger. She's probably half my age now. No, maybe about half my age. That's funny, but I am now. All right. I'm hydrated. So what do you got?
Do you want to see my setup?
Yes. What do you have?
All right. So we're gonna do take some blueberries. Do you have blueberries?
Okay.
And you put them in a glass. You got a glass? Let me see your glass.
What kind of glass do you want me to have?
Like a tumbler.
Okay. My rocks.
Or rocks. Rocks is fine.
How about a Conch? That's good?
Yeah.
You like that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How many blueberries am I going to put in here?
Depending on the size, like mine are a nice, like medium size. So I'm going to use like 10.
Mine are pretty small. Okay, about 10.
So like 10. Put a little extra. It's fine. So we're going to put them in the bottom of the glass, and then we're going to take our mint that we picked from our yard today, and we're just going to take our leaves, and we're going to take like about 15 mint leaves. They're really small right now because they're tender and they're just fresh. So
mine are pretty big, Gina. Do I do like half of that then?
No, maybe like 7 or 8. I mean, like I said, mine are really little still. So
okay.
So putting them in.
Got it.
Just the leaves. And now you're going to take your muddler. You have a muddler somewhere?
I do. I pulled that out because I had a sneaking suspicion you were going to ask me to do this. All right.
Okay. So we're going to take it and we're just going to give it a little press, right? So we're basically making a crunch. So I have a funny story about this drink. I thought it would make everybody laugh a little bit. So when I first started bartending, right? This is the time in your life where you tell everybody every story you know.
Yep.
When I first started bartending, I bartended at this place called 15 Ria. It was one of my first gigs. And there was a drink on the menu called a blueberry smash. And I definitely made this drink wrong. And I think I told this story once before. But anyway, we're gonna mash it down. And so I worked in the session and and we had this cocktail on the menu. Well, I made about 10 bazillion of these drinks, and I hated them every single time. But they're actually a very good drink, so we're going to drink it.
Okay.
So I don't know if you could see, maybe you're going to see this video, maybe you're never going to see this video. It is what it is. I don't have a jigger at home. Can you imagine that?
What?
So just so you know, 2 ounces of liquor is 59.8 milliliters, 58.9 milliliters. So I have about a quarter of a cup.
Okay,
so I'm going to take a quarter of a cup of white rum and I'm going to pour it in. And then I'm going to take 1/8 of a cup or half an ounce of simple syrup.
Oh, let me grab my simple. I'm in my refrigerator. Can you tell?
I like it.
Half an ounce, you said?
Half to 1 ounce, depending if you want it a little sweeter.
Okay. Half.
Up to you.
Got it.
Then you're going to take a half a lime.
Got it.
And you're going to face it in. And you're going to squeeze it in. And then you're going to take the actual whole lime after you squeeze it and just drop it in there as well.
Oh, okay.
So basically, if you see what it looks like, you're pushing everything in there, so you have like all the junk at the bottom. And then we're going to take some ice.
Junk in my trunk and in the bottom of my glass.
Yeah, you see what it looks like, right? And you're going to take the ice, and you're going to...
Okay.
No, you're not taking it. It's just a crush.
I don't have... I just have small rocks. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Anything is fine when you're at home. I mean, literally, like anything. I'm going to show you a little neat toy I had forever. So this is like an old school crushed ice, like you would have made this back in the day. But it's
fun.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's like an old antique.
It looks like Batman on the bottom.
It does. So they had the coolest stuff back in the
day.
Back in the 60s. Anyway, so I don't have my spoon, so now I'm going to use a knife. I'm going to push it down, use a spoon. And you're just going to push it in. And basically what a crush is, the ice is on top and you take little sips. And it'll get sweeter as you get to the bottom of your drink. And it's meant to last. So making crushes during days like today. And you don't want to like suck it back too much or too fast. You just kind of finish up your drink and you let it sit, and there's a little bit of water and all that stuff adds in time. It'll dilute a little bit and it's just really nice. And that's it.
Extra little sprig
so
here.
Let's see what yours looks like. Yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
That's pretty good. Cheers.
Oh, that's delicious. That's really great. I like it. So do you usually use I even have metal straws at the house, but because no one's coming to my house, it's perfectly fine.
I don't want to go in the house because I might run into a small person.
Well,
I just use this. I just went like this.
That's enough to keep your children out. I just use this knife on them.
I mean, in like a perfect, it's so funny. You always ask for all these days off, right? You're like,
this is so good.
I want to have all these days off and I want to do, I have so many projects around the house to do and all this stuff. Well, that ran out like 2 weeks ago. So I'm kind of over that. So
Dave has been doing really great projects around the house. So it's kind of a win-win because, we both work from home. So it's a lot of time together. But now we're not even going out in the evening. But he's been working on projects. He's built a beautiful bench for outside. He's built a gate. He's putting in new stair faces, all this woodworking. It's great. It's the only way to stay married.
I want to see what our listeners are doing. Somebody sent us if you're hearing this episode, I want you to post to us, tag us on Instagram. Let me see what you're doing.
How are you staying sane?
DM us. But DM us. You have questions? You have a bunch of stuff sitting in your liquor cabinet and you don't know what to do with it? Let's do something with it. Make me my next suggestion.
Oh, good Lord. It'll send in the most random ingredient.
Yeah.
Tell us what your spirit ingredient is and Gina will make a cocktail with it.
Oh, my spirit ingredient these days, I'm going to tell you what it is now. It's this hard seltzer. I just kind of put it on everything. And
then put that shit on everything?
And then I hide. And then I like to hide. So when I'm not working, I'm trying to figure out how to hide. Yeah. So I got to give it, my husband is unemployed right now at the moment. So he's become the teacher. Uh-huh. And honestly, teachers don't get paid enough money because having your kids, trying to teach them an actual lesson is super crazy. My kids are waving in the window right now.
Yeah, my puppies are looking me through the glass. It's fine. Dave's like, can I have one of those? I'm like, no, I'm busy. I'm working, damn it.
Yeah, you can. I mean, what are you going to do? I keep decorating my drink. I really don't know why. I'm just like, oh, I'll just decorate it some more. Do you feel like don't you, like, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I don't know how much time we have or don't have or whatever.
Janice will let us know.
Yeah. Do you feel, and like, I'm sure that I'm not alone in the world on this, but I think that some of the things that we used to do and the way I navigated my life prior to this has made me like have a different perspective on what I was doing and thinking like, really the basics that you need to survive, like sometimes they're just ignored because you're so worried about like this other thing that now can't help you. Whether it's money or fame or Insta fame or, I don't know, like money can help, but I'm thinking about it now, like you just really need to eat and have shelter and be warm, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm trying to like, I don't know, like really, really rethink things. Like, I don't know, like, have you found yourself in that rabbit hole or like looking up 1918 and what was going on when the Spanish flu happened? And it was also during Prohibition in this country. And then it led to the Great Depression. And then all of those people that navigated the Great Return of the United States, right? And then, or the world, I should say, and innovative and whatever, and the grandparents, the savers that built the wealth that sustained all these decades based on all that famine, no alcohol, and depression.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you not think about that?
I do.
Conversation. I don't even know.
No, I think what it is it shows that it's proof that this too will pass, and this is not. It has happened before, and we've overcome. And I think what's crazy is that we do tend to forget. Like even with 9/11, there are people who that happened during our lifetime and changed our world. It changed the way we function. But there are already people beginning to forget, or people who weren't, it's recent history and it feels so fresh and new for me, but there are others that, that are so young that they don't need, it doesn't really play into their psyche. But I think to your point is that on a more positive note that we will get through this, we'll get to the other side, things will obviously change. And hopefully for the better, that we get smarter. We don't take our eye off the ball on world events, certain leaders, and we barely touch that third rail. But then, maybe this is, if nothing else, we learn what not to do and how not to behave as an individual as well as a country. I mean, that's all we can hope for, right?
It is. You got to figure out so I also want to know what everybody is like doing. What do you do? Are you doing your part? Like I'm doing, we are doing, we're feeding meals to hospital workers in DC, and we partnered with Feed the Heroes, DMV, and you could go and donate as little as $1 or as much as you'd like. And it feeds firefighters, EMTs, and hospital workers, all of them, not just the doctors,
That's
nurses, right? Like it's a basic, a meal is basic, right? And then like DC Central Kitchen here in DC is doing, they do it. So they're part of World Kitchen that's doing over 60,000 meals daily. And some of you out there listening, are thinking, what should I do with my stimulus money that I don't need? I have a great idea. Donate it to a cause. Find a cause that you can see where the money is going, or what we're doing, or what Louise has been doing. Louise, what are we doing?
So we have a big announcement coming up. We're a little premature. It's still in the works. It's still very, the paint has not dried, but the ink is on the contract. We are doing a grassroots, we as in Designated Drinker, are doing a grassroots effort to raise funds for the James Beard Foundation. The campaign is yet to kick off, but we have huge, huge expectations and goals. And again, to your point, every dollar counts. I'm calling it a campaign that's kind of like a virtual tip jar to advocate for whatever you can donate. There are a lot of people hurting in and outside of the food and beverage industry. And if you have $1, if you have 10, if you have 50 cents, all of that, and when we all pull together, that makes a much bigger impact than, you know, your single dollar alone. So we have yet to really launch everything and let out all the ins and outs of the campaign, but we know the money is going to go to James Beard Foundation, and they are putting together programs that will help restaurants and bars, our food and beverage industry as a whole, come back, and not only come back, but also be open. And the campaign's called Open for Good, meaning that double entendre: open because it's the right to do good things, and then also to stay open, because our food and beverage industry is the fabric of our neighborhoods. Where I live, it's like, to your point, it's when things happen, it changes your perspective. And of course, I'm often in there. I'm often in restaurants and bars, and it's part of my social life. But you realize now how much you cherish that time, and the people that are behind those bars, who are serving your food, who are cooking your food, they are totally not many live in your neighborhood, but also what they do every day actually makes your neighborhood a neighborhood. So so that's what we're doing. When we'll have more details as that builds up and goes out and launches into the world. But it's we're almost there. Oh, look at that.
We have a surprise guest.
Yeah.
we have my daughter, Gianna. She's joining the show today. She wants
that's great.
She wants to say hi to everybody. Okay? And because you're going to go bike riding, huh? Are you bike riding?
Oh, we've got two. I've got a twofer.
Two on there. All right. On that note, Louise.
Well, let's do our little housekeeping so we just don't forget. Where are we going to send them to go get this recipe, Gina?
So we're going to go to designateddrinker.show.
What was that?
Designateddrinker.show.
And all the tips and how-tos on this cocktail, plus all the ones that Gina and our guest barkeep have brought to the show, keep you guys happy in your home, cocktailing alone, but know that we're here with you. And to Gina's point, if there's anything we can do to help you figure out how to make that next cocktail, send us a line, hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, however you want to reach out to us. And we'd love to have you be a part of the show, and we'll do a little shout out and see what we can do for you.
And follow us so that you'll know where to give your extra change to make a change in somebody else's life.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly. All of that will be there. Absolutely.
All right. Love you. It's nice
love
to
you
see
too.
you.
And miss you.
Miss you.
Bye, girls. Have a great bike ride.
Oh, bye.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a podcast media company dedicated to connecting people to intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Missing Link is a proud partner of Hearing Charities of America, a nonprofit organization that supports those who are deaf or hard of hearing. To learn more about HCOA or to find out about Missing Link's other podcasts, head over to missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.